Welcome back. Now, Kollywood dominated the 58th National Awards in all Tamil cinema, managed to bag 14 awards. Actor Dhanush bagged the prestigious Best Actor award for his outstanding performance in the film Ardakulam. Now, actor Saranya Punvaram meanwhile bagged the award for the Best Actress for her wonderful performance. Well, in fact, after that big day, Saranya is now joining us live from her residence. Now, Saranya, firstly, good evening and welcome to the show. First question I'll ask you here is that how does it feel after being awarded the National Award? And were you expecting this award after your efforts in this movie?
When I started working on the movie, I definitely didn't have any idea of getting an award or anything like that, because I think when you work on a project, you definitely can't judge whether you'll get an award. But when the movie was over and when it was screened, I had a lot of well-wishers who watched, and they came out with a comment saying that you might fetch an award. And when they said that, in fact, it increased the desire in me that I should get an award. Till then, I never had any such ideas. But when they said that, I thought how I wish I could get, and whatever everyone felt happened, and I just got it, and I'm so happy about it.
Yeah, we can see that you're really happy, as you should. Again, a very prestigious award, that one. Now, another question. Now, Kollywood really dominated at the National Awards. What do you make of this performance by Tamil cinema?
I'm very, very happy. Like there was proper recognition for proper talent. And there are very good, talented people in our industry. That also gives me great pleasure to say. And I'm very proud of our industry. I hope we'll continue to give such good results.
Well, proud as we should be. Again, we boast of some big stars coming out of Kollywood. Well, thanks a lot, Saranya. And again, congratulations on winning that prestigious award. Now, coming back to the big story, reflecting on the big story of the day, Kanimuri's arrest and the expected fallout, NDTV Hindu's executive editor Sanjay Pinto shared his interesting observations, unique perspectives and sharp analysis.
I think it's a double whammy for the DMK at this stage. Karunanidhi has every reason to be a worried man. But if you look at how this 2G case has really sort of panned out, you will notice that the DMK has progressively lost ground. And now, of course, Kanimuri has been denied bail and has had to go to the Tihar jail. So progressively the DMK seems to have been put on the back foot by the Congress, because obviously this relationship is not quite what it was in the first in UPA 1.
Absolutely. Now, let me ask you another question here. Now, the 2G was, this vote was touted as the vote against corruption, with the 2G being at the epicenter. How damaging is 2G turning out to be for the DMK, not only the party, but also the first family in this case?
Well, I think the 2G scam initially haunted the party in the run-up to the elections, and at elections it hurt the party, and now it's really hit the family, first family, very hard. Initially, the DMK sought to sort of play down the possible impact of the 2G scam, saying that it's only at urban centers that they would probably be hit hard. But if the elections are any indication, that was not to be really. And even now it's come to, their door in more ways than one. So I think they completely underestimated the impact of the 2G scam, the repercussions it would have, not just for the family, not just for the party leadership here, but also in terms of their equation with at the center.
Yeah, that became pretty clear with even Stalin's only marginal victory in his constituency at this point. Now, well, Sanjay, you spoke to the Subramanian Swamy, there, the Janata Party chief. Now, what sense are you getting about the road forward here for the DMK and the Congress combined? There was a lot of talk that we saw some tension in the pre-poll, in the build-up to the elections. How do you see this combined right now?
See, there was that, as you rightly mentioned, that spat, that ugly public spat over initially the number of seats in the Congress ultimately having its way with 63. Then, of course, it was over the choice of constituencies, and what an irony that was. Union Home Minister P. Chidambaram was there in the DMK headquarters there for that seat identification round of discussions. And on the same day, and on another floor of the same building, you had both Dayalu Ammal and Kanimuri being questioned by the CBI. So that's perhaps an indication of how equations have been altered between the DMK and the Congress. And remember, just recently, even after this landslide victory of Jayalalitha, the Prime Minister called up and congratulated Jayalalitha. Sonia Gandhi has called up and congratulated Jayalalitha.
Right.
but no one has called up to console Karunanidhi. After all, many believe the DMK, many senior DMK leaders seem to believe that it's a Congress but also has an important role to play in its defeat, in its humiliating defeat here, because the Congress initially asked, of course, asked for that lion's share of seats, 63 seats, of which they won only 5, and then there was infighting. So many believe that the Congress, while the Congress may say that this is excess baggage, they may view the DMK as sort of a stigma in the run-up to 2014. The boot is also on the other foot. That's at least what many DMK leaders argue. But also, I think the DMK would definitely need the Congress more than the Congress would need them. Okay. Because remember, Ms. Jayalalitha had earlier made that offer of support of her 9 MPs to the Congress in the event of the DMK pulling out. Is that offer still open? Will the Congress make overtures to her? Going by present indication, it seems that Congress is probably testing the waters, probably not averse to the idea of cozying up to Ms. Jayalalitha. Okay. We'll have to see how the response she gets from the Congress when she goes to New Delhi to formally call, as a Chief Minister, to formally call on the Prime Minister. They will obviously say that there's nothing political about it. It's just a question of protocol that a Chief Minister goes to call on the Prime Minister, but there could be political overtones there as well. So, which way will the political wind blow? I don't think the DMK, Mr. Karunanidhi has very clearly indicated that the Congress-DMK alliance is intact. I don't think the DMK will in any way do anything to rock the boat. But in the months ahead, we'll have to see how Ms. Jayalalitha responds to the Congress and whether the Congress will be keen on sort of shedding what some people believe could be sort of excess baggage. Also, that seems to be a little harsh term at the moment.
Right, so interesting times these, and interesting overtures are coming to light at this.
It's an important point that Mr. Cho Ramasamy is raising there as to whether the various power centers within the DMK first family, will be on the same page with Mr. Karunanidhi. If not openly, as to whether there would be any heartburn. Some of them are not very happy with the DMK's decision to back Raja. Initially, if you remember, Ashmit, Mr. Karunanidhi had been taking the line that he's a Dalit leader and therefore he is being targeted. Then later he said that Raja is innocent and only followed the established procedure. Right. Later, when he was arrested, also said that, well, if he's guilty, then we will take action, but he seems to be innocent. He also, in the run-up to the polls, asked his leaders to fan out across the state and defend Raja at public meetings. So all this seems to have boomeranged in a sense. So what will the other DMK leaders, the other power centers feel about this? That's going to be very interesting to see the stand that they take. There's that crucial meeting that they say they're going to, they have not fixed a date really.
Right.
But at the moment, I don't think the DMK really has too many, I don't think they have political options at this stage. They have a legal option, of course, which of course is to file that appeal against the rejection of this bail in the High Court. Also, Mr. Cho Ramasamy made a couple of points there. This so-called protective veneer, this immunity or insurance cover against, let's say, the IDMK here by being in the center. That insurance cover didn't work in 2001 when Mr. Karunanidhi was arrested and they were part of the then NDA government. That insurance cover didn't work with their central ministers, and both Murusuli Maran and T.R. Balu were arrested.
Right.
So, of course, they were later on released. There was pressure from the NDA government as well. And so we'll have to really wait and see how this, what shape this really takes in the days ahead. And as far as the Congress helping the DMK in any way, remember this is a case that is monitored directly by the Supreme Court. Even if you have a very friendly ally, the Supreme Court is not going to take things lightly, and they will definitely pull up the CBI if the CBI shows any leniency or seem to be showing any leniency towards any of the accused.
Right, so the Supreme Court, as you correctly pointed out, has been reasonably proactive as far as this case is concerned. But you made an interesting point there about A. Raja. Now, he's been out of the limelight for some time now. Now that this the 2G scam has hit too close to comfort for Karunanidhi, where it has hit the first family, you think A. Raja could perhaps be sidelined in the scheme of things as DMK takes it forward?
That's a very interesting question, Ashwin, because guess what? They've already done that in the courts. They've already, in fact, distanced themselves from A. Raja legally, when they said that, look, Kanimuri is in no way involved in this. Mr. Ram Jethmalani, apart from taking the line that she's a woman and invoking section 437 of the Criminal Procedure Code, saying that she should be shown mercy. I remember those words which he used. He said, it's a legal right, even if it's not a legal right, even if you don't grant her that legal right, give it to her as a reward for her motherhood, and the fact that she's a woman and the dignified presence she has maintained. Something that even the judge actually mentioned, Judge O.P. Saini mentioned that, you know, her dignified presence in the court, I couldn't really help her because legally on merit, I couldn't have enlarged her on bail. But the DMK is already, in a sense, many saw that as a sort of betrayal of A. Raja, that they almost did a foxtrot there, they kind of did a U-turn with Raja just to save Kanimuri. Now that may not go down too well with at least Raja's faction within the party. And remember, another very interesting point, in assembly segments in Perambalur, Raja's, the DMK didn't do too badly. So there are a lot of contradictions even with regard to the election results and the so-called impact of 2G Ashmit.
It's interesting times these as far as these different permutations, combinations are concerned. A final question at this point will of course be the road forward for the DMK. As you mentioned that they have very limited political options, especially since they were hammered out of shape in the last elections. And of course this is being termed as a double whammy for the DMK. So what are the options that the DMK is constantly looking at?
I think as of now, the lawyers also went into a huddle with the DMK chief at CIT Colony, Kanimuri's residence there, along with MK Stalin and other senior leaders. Alagiri, we are told, is on the way back from Madurai. I think he would have landed in Chennai. We'll try and wait. Maybe in the next bulletin we'll have an update on that. I think right now it's only to put all their energy into that appeal in the High Court against the rejection of a bail, to try and see that something can be done. That's going to be crucial for them. If they can get Kanimuri out of the Tihar jail, then that will be some sort of a partial moral victory for them, some sort of redemption. But otherwise, it's going to be very difficult for them because, as I said earlier, political options seem to have dried up for them.
Exactly. Political options have dried up at this point. But speaking of Kanimuri, now she's been in the limelight. People have been talking about political permutations, combinations. What about Kanimuri as a person? Now, having followed the Tamil Nadu political landscape for over a decade and a half now, you've interacted with Kanimuri on several occasions. How would she be taking it as a person? You've known her as a person. So how would things be shaping out for her?
Well, one feels sorry for Kanimuri that what she's going through, but then at the end of the day, the law must take its course. We don't want to prejudge any issue, let the courts decide whether someone is guilty or not. But as a person, Kanimuri has always come across as somebody who's very friendly, who's soft-spoken, who has no false airs, who's very down to earth and simple and humble, always willing to help others, to lend a ear. So to that extent, Kanimuri will get sympathy, not just very popular among journalists also in Tamil Nadu, I must say. Because Kanimuri would be that the face of the party when it comes to getting English sound bites for TV channels as well. Also the link between the media, the English media, and Mr. Karunanidhi.
Right.
So that extent, I think she will get sympathy because of the kind of person she is. Not known to throw her weight around. But I think her proximity to A. Raja, and of course, many say that Kanimuri was, should have actually remained the literary heir of Karunanidhi. Okay. She got into politics. She almost made it as a minister after her election to the Rajya Sabha. But many say that was perhaps a Waterloo, proximity to A. Raja and this whole 2G scheme. Otherwise, she had a fairly clean track record.
Right, so that's the picture that we're getting. Thanks a lot, Sanjay. It was great talking to you and to get a sense of insight and, of course, perspective on this one developing story, which, of course,
also another point, Mr. Karunanidhi actually said that he was not going to Delhi. But we also have reports that there is a booking in his name for a flight at 8 o'clock out of Chennai. So whether that's just a matter of abundant caution in case he changes his mind, or whether he's really going to Delhi, because remember, Ashmit, he said earlier that he wanted to be in Delhi in the court by his daughter's side, right. By Kanimuri's side in the court during the bail hearing. She in fact had advised him not to go. He's known to have a lot of affection for his daughter. He must be quite a shattered man at this stage, which is why even he said what he said, that if you have a daughter, you'll know how I feel.
Exactly, statements coming from
very emotional, yes, as a father. That was Karunanidhi speaking there as a father of Kanimuri. And he's also said earlier in that meeting which was called to chalk out the party strategy, right. Before in fact the bail hearing, the bail verdict came out. They said that Kanimuri has earned her spurs, and it's not because of her family surname.
Well, that's all we have time for. Do keep watching NDTV Hindu for more news and updates. Have a good night.